everyone, welcome. Today's practice is all about the hips. We're going to be mixing some strength with flexibility, which is super important to just send some love to this whole hip space. So hop onto your mat and I'll meet you there. So today's practice will have a mixture of active stretches and then a little bit of strengthening into this space as well, because we can't have one without the other. The balance is so important. We'll begin in a child's pose. So bringing the knees wide, toes come to touch, sit the hips back to the heels and actively reach the arms forwards. So if the forehead doesn't touch the ground, then just bring something, maybe a brick, a block, a pillow, just to bridge the gap between your head and the earth. So we really can take a few moments to rest a little more in our child's pose. And then when you arrive here, just take a gorgeous deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Release any tension. Inhale fully. Exhale, let it go. One more breath. Nice. And just creating and cultivating a natural rhythm of your own breath here. So as you inhale and exhale through your nose, really let the belly and the ribs expand with every breath in and soften with every breath out. Really breathing into that lower back space. Because our lower back is really connected to the hips by our fascia, that great big web of connective tissue. So one affects the other. And just take a moment here to check in with the hips and think about why you chose to come to this practice today. What was your intention for choosing this video? Maybe you're nursing an ache or pain, you're feeling quite tight, maybe you feel like you have lots of space. Whatever the reason, there's no right or wrong, just check in. And try not to compare the way your hips are feeling now to the way they once were in the past, or the way they might be in the future. Just checking in with them now. Even if you've done this video before and you could do something a certain way, how are you in this moment? Nice. Find one more breath here. And then slowly begin to reach your arms over towards the right side of the mat. Lengthen a little more through that left side body. Option of bringing the left palm on top of the right here to reach a little more, but keep the hips sitting really heavy towards the heels. Breathing into that side body space, let the ribs expand. And then float your arms through center and over to the left side. And again, same option here. Bringing that right hand on top. If there's space, just lengthen a little more through that right side. Awesome. And as you make your way to center, nice and slow, drag the hands on the mat and roll up. Long spine. Nice. Roll through the shoulders a couple of times. And then scooping the legs to one side. And if we're not there already, come towards the front of our mat. Nice. Bringing the palms on the earth. Take the feet nice and wide. And we're just going to drop the knees to one side. And then windscreen wiper them up and over to the other. A few more times with your own breath. Maybe you stay on one side a little longer. You might want to bring that bottom ankle onto the outside of that top thigh. Nice, but we're just looking to invite in some movement to begin with. So just warming up through this space, getting the blood flowing a little bit more. And as you even it out, float back to center, extend the legs, and just make your way down to the ground. When you arrive here, knees hug up and in. One hand comes onto each knee. Open them out wide, and then send them around in juicy circles. And the hands are here as a guide. If we'd like to, we can bring them onto the belly. But just see how you feel. Taking these circles out nice and wide. Pay attention to the hips as we add a bit more movement now. Sending them in the opposite direction. Awesome. Lovely. And as you come on back to center, make your way up into a tabletop. So you might curl up and roll. You might just rock to one side and press up. Wherever you are, come to your all fours with the wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Find a sturdy tabletop position. Spread through the fingers. Really press into the tops of the feet. And from here, send your right leg out behind you, toes tuck under. Rock forwards, rock back. Just warming up through that back of that leg all the way down to the foot. Also giving the wrists a little bit of love here. Keep pressing into the fingertips. As you come to center, stacking shoulders on top of the wrist, float that right leg off the mat, bend the knee, and then open the knee out to the side. Really mindful that we're not instantly collapsing into this left side. Start to draw big circles in one direction with your right knee. And be aware that as we do this, we're not collapsing into the arms and creating quite a fussy movement here. So keep pressing away through the arms, extending fully. Send your circle in the opposite direction. Keep that connection to your breath. And then as the right knee curls towards the nose, round through the spine, and lightly step that right foot forwards. Come either into a high or low lunge. Keep that front knee stacked on top of the ankle. Reach fingertips to the sky. Everybody, big breath in. And as you exhale, bring the hands down to the inside of the right foot and turn the toes out to about a 2 o'clock position. Now we can keep that knee lifted or lower it. We're just going to roll around, circling through the hips in one direction. And if this circle becomes less of a circle and more of a squiggle, awesome. Roll with it and be led a little bit more by the sensations rather than just shapes. Send your movement in the opposite way. Nice. And as you float to center, we're going to keep this front knee pressing away from the midline of our mat whilst keeping planted through all 4 sides of this front foot. And then reaching the hands over towards the top left corner of the mat, finding a little opposition. If we need to lift and step back that left knee a little bit, just so it's not on that uncomfortable part of the kneecap, go for it. And of course, any extra padding, just take what you need. Maybe a blanket underneath the knee. Keep light on the fingertips so we're not crashing down. One more breath here. And then release, floating to center and stepping back to tabletop. Just give the hips a wiggle out here. Strong, sturdy all fours. Float the left leg back. Keep the toes tucked as we rock forwards, rock back. Keep it moving, keep it flowing. Awesome. And as we float to center, left leg lifts, knee bends, open it out to the side. Really mindful we're not crashing down into this right side as we begin to draw big circles in one direction. Just getting some blood flow into the hip joint. Now the hip joint is made for stability, so it feels super good just to get some movement and some space here. Send it in the opposite direction. Remember, we're always looking to find a balance between the strength and the flexibility. As the left knee curls up toward the nose, round through the spine, keep space between the shin and the ground, and then step it forwards. High or low lunge, choose your own adventure. As you inhale, reach the fingertips to the sky. And as you exhale, drop the hands down to the inside. Turn the left toes to 10 o'clock. If we need to walk that knee back, it might still be lifted. We'll begin here, circling around in one direction. Nice. And the other. Maybe we're aware of how one side feels different to the other. And if it does, no problem. We're not going to judge. We're just going to listen and accept things as they are right now in our practice. As we float back to center, we're going to keep that front knee planted, front foot planted, knee pressing away from the midline as we reach our fingertips over towards that top right corner of the mat. Keep in mind that opposition, so we're either here or here. Breathe wherever you are. If the back knee is lifted, keep that heel pressing away. Nice and strong in the back leg. Awesome. Find one more breath. And then float your way back to center. Step to tabletop and just wiggle it out for a moment. Nice. From here, we'll tuck our toes under. Sit the hips back to the heels and reach the arms all the way in front. Send the tailbone high and rise to your downward facing dog. Have a moment to just wiggle and pedal it out. From down dog, float right leg off the mat, long, strong, three-legged dog. As you bend the knee, open the hips towards the right side. Start to circle the knee around in one direction. We're going to do a similar version of our flow, but just switching it up slightly. Coming a little higher away from the ground here. And send your knee the opposite direction. Nice. Keep that firm foundation in the palms. As we square the hips back to center, step that right foot all the way forwards to the outside of that right hand. But then lift up and back to your three-legged dog. Now we're going to do this 2 more times. Curl it up, step forwards. If it doesn't reach all the way to the front, don't worry. We're just going to try to step it towards that hand. Nice. And then this time, as you step that right foot forwards, we're going to pivot that left foot fully to the ground. And from here, rise up into a warrior one. So that front knee's bent, the back leg is long, that back thigh is spiraling inward toward the midline of the mat. Nice. Find one more breath here. And then drop the arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach them back like airplane wings, lift the heart and the gaze. Exhale, round and roll it through, palms together, chin to chest. This time, inhale, reach back but interlace the hands, send the knuckles away and keep this strong stability in the lower body. So mindful that this front leg isn't dropping in. We're looking to keep it pressing away, stabilizing the hip joint. As we hinge from the hips, start to fold forwards, crown of the head towards the mat. Mindful that we're still pressing into the outer edge of this back foot. And then it's a hinge rather than a transfer of weight. Nice. Find one more breath where you are. And then release the hands slowly. Resist the slingshot. Float them towards that top left corner of the mat, fingertips on the earth. If we want to, we can lift a little higher onto bricks or blocks. Just keeping in mind that opposition, front knee really rolling away. Nice. One more breath here. And then bring the hands back to frame the front foot. Lift that back heel and step straight to a downward facing dog. Nice. Have a moment to wiggle and pedal it out. Breathe here. And when you're ready, float left leg off the mat. Bend the knee, open the hips. We'll find that same flow on this side. Rolling that knee in one direction, circling it around. And the other way. Nice. And then as the hips square back to center, we'll step this left foot forwards towards that left hand. Nice. Then reaching back. Left knee forward, step the foot up as lightly as we can. Nice. Keep going here. Awesome. This time as we reach up and then step it forwards, we're going to stay here. Pivot that right foot to the ground and rise into our warrior one. Keep those front ribs knitting in so we're not flaring out in the heart. Inhale, reach a little more through side body. Exhale, drop the arms. On your next inhale, find airplane wings. Open the heart and the throat. As you exhale, roll and curl it through. Spread the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, come back, open the heart, airplane wings, but this time interlace. Send the knuckles away. And as we exhale, hinge from the hips into our humble warrior. While you're down there, have a look at the toes, mindful that they're staying really soft on the mat. Keep paying attention to the role your breath's having in your movement. Remember, breath always comes first. Wherever we are, it's our foundation that we grow from. If we're not breathing, we could be sending panic signals to our body, to our brain. We want to stay cool, calm, and collected here. Find one more breath. Resist the slingshot as the hands release and reach forwards towards the top right corner of the mat. Keep both legs actively pressing away. Lovely. Find a couple more breaths here. And as the hands come towards the center of the mat, frame that front foot, lift the heel, and then rise, downward facing dog. Awesome, everyone. Big breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, sigh it out. From here, we're going to walk the feet towards the middle of the mat, hands towards the feet, turn the toes out, step them a little wider, and bend the knees. Sit the hips back into your malasana, yogi squat. Don't worry if the heels don't touch the ground. But what we're looking to do today is, rather than using the elbows to just press the knees further away from each other and the hips open and really muscling into this with the upper body strength, we're going to take the hands to the earth. And again, mindful that we're not collapsing fully in the spine here. So they might come a little bit closer to you. We might lift them onto a brick or a block. But without using our arms, pressing the legs away as the sides of the feet come towards the mat. Awesome. Breathing here. Nice. And then from here, I'm going to send the weight more to that right leg. As the left leg extends fully, kick that left heel up towards the heel to the ground, the toes to the sky. Keep the right fingertips on the mat. And as you inhale, reach your left hand all the way up to the sky. Exhale, drop it down. Nice. We'll do this a couple more times. Inhale to rise. Really find space. Shine the heart open. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Bending left knee, come back to our malasana. Stay here for just a moment and then keep that left leg bent as we extend the right toes, flex up towards the face. Left fingertips soft onto the mat. As you inhale, reach the right fingertips high. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Last time, inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Coming back to malasana. We'll stay here for one breath. Final option is to reach the hands all the way up towards the sky. And everybody release. Lengthen the legs, fold forwards. Walk the feet to hips distance, toes towards the front of your mat. As the palms soften to the earth, step the knees down and into your child's pose. Knees wide, toes together, sit the forehead to the mat. Reach the arms forwards, but we might want a bit more of a bend in the elbows here. So this is a softer version of the balasana that we began our practice in. Nice. Just one more breath here. And then slowly paint the mat, roll up, scoop the legs to one side. Make sure you're towards the front of your mat. So as we extend the legs, we're going to come on down to the ground. And when you arrive here, hugging the knees in, but taking them out wide towards the armpits. And from here, we'll find our happy baby as we kick the feet towards the sky. Let the hands rest on either the back of the legs or the outer edges of the feet. But if we're noticing here, we're feeling into this rounding and curling in the lower back, then that's just an invitation to take the hands a little lower. We don't need to rush to have hands on the feet. Wherever you are, just breathe here. Maybe you find a gentle rocking. So again, happy baby, as we can tell, is great for opening up through the hip space, but it's also sending some love and attention to the lower back. So it's a double whammy to make our hips very happy. Nice, one more breath here. And as you come to center, release. And just take a moment to plant both feet wide and let the knees fall in towards one another. Hands rest on the belly. Just connect back to those gorgeous inhales and exhales. Let the belly rise and fall. And then as we walk the soles of the feet together, knees open out wide in our reclined bound angle pose. Mindful that the lower back isn't really arching here, so keeping it soft towards the mat. Just take a few breaths exactly where we are. Start to slow things down again. And as the soles of the feet walk back onto the mat, bring them wide, we'll gently windscreen wiper the knees from side to side. Last bit of active movement. Even it out. And then making your way to center and finding our final resting posture in Shavasana, either keeping the knees bent with them dropping in towards one another, or extend the legs and really come to take up space here. Backs of the hands on the mat, finding some room between the side body and the upper arms. And because this is a shorter practice, we won't spend lots of time in Shavasana necessarily, but if you do have the time to spare, I really encourage you to stay a little longer. And as we lie here in stillness, this is often where the real magic happens. We deepen that relationship with our breath. We're soothing and calming our nervous system and just letting all of our practice be sealed within us and just sink in. Take a moment to thank yourself for everything that you've just done in your practice today and for dedicating this time to be here. Please do stay here if you have the time. But if not, bring the palms together at the heart. And from my heart to each of yours practicing today, I thank you for being here. Namaste.